it all comes down to this, the moment of truth, to see whether this whole hike, this whole trek, this whole journey here was totally worth it. Oh my god, this is incredible. Welcome to Machu Picchu. Well, good morning guys, from another day here in Peru. And today, well, today's going to be an interesting day. Today we are going to Machu Picchu. Oh, we're actually going to see Machu Picchu tomorrow, so we're going to continue the video tomorrow morning. But right now there's usually a few ways to go to Machu Picchu. The first way is that you can trek from the mountains, and that's usually a pretty hard way of getting to Machu Picchu. The second way is, of course, to take the train. That is a very easy way to go to Machu Picchu, but it's very expensive. And the final way is what I'm doing today. It's basically a bus plus a trek. You're basically being dropped off at a town called Hidroelectrica, and from there you walk another 3-4 hours and you get to the town of Aguas Calientes, which is right below Machu Picchu. We are currently on our bus tour right now. We've just sort of stopped for breakfast right here in the middle of the sacred valley of Peru. As you can see, there are mountains all around me, and actually the weather's a bit cloudy today, so hopefully it's not cloudy tomorrow when we go see Machu Picchu. So we've already left Cusco. We're about an hour and a half into our journey. We have another 5 more hours on our road before we get to the point where we start walking to Machu Picchu's town. So let's go ahead, let's chill a little bit, and we're gonna get back on the road soon to head down to Hidroelectrica. Hello. Oh, so cute. Hello there. There's just so many puppies here, huh? Such a good dog. You're so cute. That right there is the train to Machu Picchu, and if they're already here, we better get going as well. So let's get back on the van and let's get back on the road. Well, like they said, 5 hours later, we finally made it to Hidroelectrica. This right here is the start of our trek to Machu Picchu. Now, the people here are really nice. They actually told us that all we have to do is follow the train tracks and we'll get to Aguas Calientes. That hike should take us about maybe 2.5 hours to 3 hours, somewhere around there. The good thing is that it's only 1 in the afternoon, so if everything goes to plan, we should be in Aguas Calientes before the sun sets. That's important because if you look at this trail, there's not really any lights. So if you arrive late, you're sort of stuck on these paths in the dark until you get there, which doesn't sound like any fun at all. So we're gonna go ahead and walk towards Aguas Calientes. Now, like I said, it should be about 3 hours, but look at these mountains. These are the same mountains that Machu Picchu is located in. Machu Picchu is actually right over there. We are walking towards the mountains of Machu Picchu, and that in and of itself is incredible. So let's go ahead, get on our way, and hopefully we'll make it to Aguas Calientes before sunset. We've just passed a sign that officially announces the path to Aguas Calientes. It says that it should be about 10 more kilometers, actually 10.3 kilometers, until we get to Aguas Calientes, which is quite a distance, but he said if you just keep walking, it should be fine. Now, when you enter here, you need to do a sort of ingreso, which is like a registration. Now, the registration is really easy. You just write down your name, your passport number, the country of your nationality, your birthday, all that sort of basic information, and they don't actually ask you to pay anything more, so you don't have to pay to enter this path. It's completely free. All you have to pay for is the bus that takes you to 𝐒𝐿𝐷. But we should be seeing the train tracks soon. I don't know where they are. I can hear the train. I don't know if you hear that, which means that that is a good sign. We should be on our way there. So we're walking through this sort of jungly area, and before we know it, hopefully we will find the train tracks to Machu Picchu. Well, at last we have found the train tracks. These are the lines that are going to guide us to Aguas Calientes. They're going to take us all the way to Machu Picchu, which is a great sign. Now, in case you're a bit hungry or you haven't bought any water or snacks, don't worry, there's like a row of like 10 different stalls that sell all the snacks and meals that you could ask for. So we're good. We have snacks, we've got water, so we're okay. But in the case that you don't have anything, you can definitely buy some over there. Wait, the train tracks just stopped. That is so confusing. How did the train go earlier? There's no more tracks. Okay, we're gonna try and go up here and see where it is, but the guy said it was super simple. Just follow the tracks and you'll get there. I don't think it's that simple. Let's go up and see how we actually get to Aguas Calientes. Well, we got up here, but this doesn't look like the way to Aguas Calientes. I thought this was going to be an easy hike. Turns out I am completely wrong. Let's go back and sort of retrace our steps, see where we're supposed to go. Well, the good news is we found the train tracks. The bad news is that's where I had to climb from. Oh my goodness. I thought this hike was supposed to be easy. I thought it was flat. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Well, let's go ahead and keep going on Aguas Calientes. Now, there are two really good things about this hike that I feel like it's worth mentioning. First, we are at a much lower elevation than we have been in most of our trip in Peru. We are currently at less than 2,000 meters above sea level. Now keep that in mind, Cusco is at almost 3,900 meters above sea level. So we are definitely lower in altitude, which makes hiking much, much easier. Second, there is so much shade throughout the walk. As you can probably see around me, there's so many trees that sort of block you from the sun, so you are protected. You're not going to get sunburnt on this hike, and it's a pretty breezy, nice hike to actually do, unless you're climbing up the really weird up part that, you know, stops at the train tracks. But other than that, it's not a bad hike to do at all. You look carefully all the way up there. That's Machu Picchu. Those are the ruins we're going to see. That we're so close to them. We're actually so close to them. It is incredible. Welcome back to civilization. We have finally made it to the town of Aguas Calientes, and oh, I'm so out of breath. Let's go first find a hostel, see if we can put our stuff down. And you know what? I am just gonna chill and relax for the rest of the day, because that 10-kilometer hike is easy, but it's long. Welcome to nighttime here in Aguas Calientes, Peru. It is a beautiful town. I love this town. The vibe is amazing. Now, I wanted to show you guys around the town a little bit, but I figured the first stop we should go to is probably visit the artisanal craft market. They have an incredible craft market here that is full of like different things that we can go and explore. So it's right across the river. There is a river that sort of runs through this entire city. So let's go ahead and let's explore the craft market. Actually, they have quite a variety of different things here at the crafts market. I'm actually very, very impressed. However, I will say things here are a little bit more expensive than, for example, the crafts market in Pisac, and that's simply because all the international travelers from all around the world come here to see Machu Picchu, so that's why they can hike up the prices. But still, nonetheless, super colorful clothes, backpacks, a lot of different things that you can get actually here at the market. So highly, highly recommend a quick visit. I mean, right now it's kind of closed because it's pretty late, but there are still some stalls that are open and they're still selling a lot of different things, which is really, really incredible. But nonetheless, a good place if you want to find souvenirs. If you're in a rush here in Peru and this is the place you're going to, Aguas Calientes, great place to come down from Machu Picchu, buy a couple souvenirs, and then go back home.
At that river, even in the middle of the night, it is still as powerful and strong as it is during the day.
Truly an incredible city located right on the mouth of a river, and Machu Picchu is just on the other side, which is crazy of a location. What I love about this town is, first, it's super modern. Like, it's got like all these hipster Western restaurants, which are great, but also they have all these statues of all like the great Incan gods and the Incan rulers. And right behind me is one called 𝐒𝐶𝐁𝐒𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐍𝐿. He's a very, very big sculpture here, sort of a little uphill in the town, just by like 5 minutes from the market. Then this statue here, he is basically the god of nature, and they've sort of embodied him in a human form. But usually he's sort of the spirit, this sort of Incan god that served as the god of nature. Remember, for the Incans, gods were the sky, the mountains, the waters. It wasn't about, you know, like Christianity today where God is like up there, you know, this concept. For them, it was very literal. It was, you know, the stones that they touched, you know, the food that they made. That was what God was about, and that's what the Incans believed in. So here we have a representation of one of the Incan gods, but there is another statue that's really interesting, which is right here. And there's actually so many different sculptures here. There's not just one. There's 3 different sculptures. There's one that's about the family, there's one about duality in the Incan culture, and then there's one about sort of humanity and the future of humanity. But what I found really, really interesting is that all these statues all are part of sort of the Incan culture. So whether it's an Incan god or an Incan ruler, or like for example this one, the family, which is called 𝐼LU, which is the sort of typical Incan family and what they believed in, it all links back to the Incan culture. This is incredible that they've had all this art and all these statues. They talk about sort of the roles of people in the Incan society. What is the role of a family? What is the role of children? What is the role of parents? I mean, this is all very interesting information. And honestly, I am loving this town. I really wish I could stay here for another day. I'm really loving how they have these sculptures that are super educational, that are super informative, that teach you more about the Incan culture. So you're here and you're really absorbing the culture rather than just seeing a bunch of ruins, which to me is much more interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and grab some dinner. It is getting a bit late and we do need to wake up early tomorrow. So let's go see what we can eat.
Hola. Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien.
Bien.
We've decided to come to a place. It's called Restaurant Peruvian Flavor, and look at the spread we've got.
We've got some soup. We've got chicken soup. We've got lomo saltado and dishes. We've got some fries. We've got macaroni, which is a tea here.
And I have to say, overall, it's quite good considering that the whole set meal is only 18 soles. That's definitely worth it. We're gonna have an early morning tomorrow, so I'm gonna wrap this up and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock in the morning when we go up to see what we came here for, Machu Picchu. Good morning, guys. It is currently 5:30 in the morning, and now we are officially going to see what we came all the way here to see. We are going to see Machu Picchu. We are going to see one of the 7 wonders of the world. We gotta catch a bus first, so let's go ahead. Let's head down to the bus stop, and let's get on our way as soon as we can. It is literally 5 in the morning and the line is that long. I did not expect it to be this long. I thought I was early. I guess I'm pretty late. Make sure if you take a 5 a.m. bus, make sure you come here early. Make sure you're like 20 minutes early than the bus is supposed to leave, or else this is the line you're stuck with. It's not fun. We finally made it, but as you can see from the line, we're not allowed to enter yet. Entry's at 6, we've got here at like 5:50. We gotta wait a few more minutes, but the line's moving, so we're about to go in. After years and years of waiting to see this wonder of the world, I finally have behind me the most iconic view in all of Peru. This is so amazing, and as the sun's rising right now, you just get this amazing view of Machu Picchu. I can hardly believe that I'm here. It is truly incredible to be here right now. And I have this entire place to myself because I woke up at 5 in the morning, so I deserve this. I deserve to have it all to myself. But this is the dream. This is what I have been dreaming about since I was a kid, since I saw photos of Machu Picchu. This is the miracle that I've been waiting for. Well, the sun has officially risen, and this is what Machu Picchu looks like once the sun has risen. It is incredibly beautiful. It is said that Machu Picchu was built as a sort of retreat for one of the Incan kings, and was built and then abandoned. Now, we don't really know why it's abandoned, but a lot of archaeologists have a few guesses. First, some people say that they didn't have enough water. There was like a waterborne disease, something like that. Some other people said that actually the king ordered them to abandon this place. So we don't exactly know why this place was completely abandoned later, but there are a lot of archaeological finds. There's a lot of clues that we can use to sort of make a guess. My guess is that looking at it, if I was a king, I'd want to build a palace here. So this would be my summer retreat. I would go there, I would enjoy, I would have servants, and then after I died, I'd probably tell everybody to abandon it to keep it a local secret. But actually, when the Spanish conquered Peru and conquered Cusco, people were talking about Machu Picchu, and they wanted to come back here, the local Incans, because they wanted to avoid the slaughter of the Spanish. But this is the lost city of Machu Picchu. I shot the time lapse, and you could see the sun rising right over that mountain, right over there, and it just shines onto Machu Picchu like nothing you've ever seen. That might be one of the best sunrises I think you're ever going to see in your life, and you can see the entire city is now under the sun. It is beautiful. It is incredible. I cannot believe this place exists. Well, I think we've spent enough time here at the Mirador, the viewpoint. Let's go actually explore what Machu Picchu is all about. Let's go actually see the ruins. Let's get up close to them. And I think maybe if we're lucky, we might get to see some llamas as well. So let's go ahead and head down. Welcome into the actual town of Machu Picchu. Well, not town, but, you know, ruins of Machu Picchu. We are currently inside the ruins. You can see the old stones that are just right behind me. I'm surrounded by them, and then behind me is that view of that incredible mountain over there. It's surreal to imagine, you know, being here thousands of years ago. I was just listening to one of the guides saying that, like, this was the palace retreat, and the Incan King took them about 2 weeks to get here. That's how long it was because of technology. You know, they didn't have cars, they didn't have planes. It took them 2 weeks to get here. Imagine coming 2 weeks just to see this. Well, I would do it. But it is beautiful around me, walking around these ruins. It's like I'm going back in time. That right there is the Inkipuntu, or the Temple of the Sun. They have this at every ruin basically here in Peru. And just like, you know, in Pisac and just like in Sacsayhuaman, you've got the Temple of the Sun, and the sun will just go right through that window. You can probably see it goes right through there. And the crazy thing is, in the Incan calendar, the calendar starts in June. So usually for us, it goes from December, then January starts a new year. For them, it's June, starts a new year because that starts the rainy season. And why does that matter? Well, if you look behind me, you'll see all those terraces. That's where they're going to grow all their crops and all their food for, you know, the king who's going to come here and stay for his summer retreat. So that's why it's really important they base their calendar off of when they can grow crops, when they're not going to grow crops. And that's very, very important, especially for a civilization that's, you know, sort of growing and expanding in the mountains when you need food. You really, really need food and fresh water. But still, the Temple of the Sun, you can see the sun is out there and it's still shining a little light through the window of the Temple of the Sun. This rock is roughly the size of the rock that Incans were using to build Machu Picchu and their other ruins. This is the size of the rock they had to turn it into. And how they did that is they basically they created these cracks you can see up there, and they used water to sort of erode it until they could make the rocks into smaller little pieces, and then fit them using their architectural ingenuity. They would fit them into these sort of places so that it would build into like these big, big structures that we see right behind me. But that's the size of the rock they used to work with. They didn't have technology, they didn't have modern technology to help them break down these rocks. So clearly, Incan ingenuity is something out of this world. In the center of these ruins is this big empty space. This is the amphitheater, and it's really cool. Just now the guide clapped his hands together and you could hear it from the other side. The Incans were the first to really develop acoustics to the point where if I clap here, you can literally hear it like it's coming from the opposite side of the ruins and those buildings over there, which is crazy how well the sound travels and how they're able to deflect that sound back. The Incans, like I said, their engineering is incredible. And this would be where they had the public ceremonies, the shows, anything that was sort of public for the community here. That's where they would do it. They're right there. They're so cute. Look at them. They are adorable. Oh, they're so furry. This is awesome. Machu Picchu was a self-sufficient city. What does that mean? That means they didn't need any resources from outside. They had water, they had food, they had housing, they had everything they needed here. And for food, it's easy. You can see the terraces that they built earlier. Those terraces will be filled with crops back in the day when the Incans were here trying to grow crops. But how did they get water? Well, the mystery lies in these tiny little holes here on the ground. There is a system of subterranean canals here at Machu Picchu, just like in 𝐒𝐿𝐷, that over time, as the water fell from the mountains down, it would purify the water until it got here to Machu Picchu, where the water would be fresh, it would be clean, and it would be potable, which was very important because if you're a king and you're here on your holiday retreat, trust me, you're definitely going to need some water. But these sort of canals, right now they're dry because it's the dry season. The rainy season starts like in a month or two. So that's why we don't see any water sort of running through any of the canals. But usually if you were to come in like maybe like August, September time, it'll be raining and there will be water sort of flowing through the canal. So you'll be able to see that fresh, drinkable water that the Incans used to use. And that's it. That's Machu Picchu. That right here is the exit from which, once you leave, you are out of Machu Picchu. Let's go ahead and get my bag and then let's go ahead and start the descent down to hidroeléctrica. Muchas gracias.
A ti.
And just like that, we have made it down, back from the mountain. We are above a bridge on the river. And you can see that's the mountain, Machu Picchu's behind me, and that is it for Machu Picchu. Now, From here, we're just going to be walking back to Hidroelectrica, so I don't think there's anything special that I want to show you there. But let's talk about Machu Picchu for a second. First, make sure you book your tickets in advance. I think that's a pretty obvious one. You need to book them on the government website. Make sure you get that so that when you're up there, it's easier. Second, I would highly recommend getting a bus up and then walking back down. The buses are quite expensive. They actually cost like 18 USD. So if you can walk down, and then just take the bus up, that way you're not paying for both journeys of it. I have to say, Machu Picchu is without a doubt clearly one of the 7 wonders of the world. There is a reason it is a wonder of the world, and it is because it is gorgeous. The history, the location, it is beautiful. And the town of Aguas Calientes also, if you have a chance, I would say stay there at least 2 nights. It is a beautiful town, and it is an amazing place to explore. It's touristy, but yet it's still authentic. It doesn't ruin, it doesn't take away from the authenticity of the entire area. But regardless, I have loved my experience here in Machu Picchu. It's been tiring, it's been exhausting, but it has been absolutely worth it. So with that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos. We're going to be visiting more Peru, so make sure this is just Machu Picchu. It's the biggest thing, but there is a lot more to see and do here in Peru, so make sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.